I would like to, on your behalf, see if we can position this properly. Now, Barrister Akinlami has shown to us that if we don't have certain powers, basically about 5 of them, then we really cannot call ourselves citizens. The question, therefore, will be, who will empower the people? That means they need to have knowledge of this, they need to be informed, they need to be educated. And this is key to even the relevant question here, the children. Now, if they are not properly educated, when they are not properly conscious of what these powers should be and how they can appropriate these powers and how they can deploy these powers, then what are we doing? That means we're living in a state of flux.
No, this is the issue. In the last 17 years, I've dedicated my adult life to what I call social empowerment advocacy. My focus is children. I'm interested in children because I had it rough growing up. I suffered all kinds of abuse growing up. I'd lost my virginity at the age of 6. I was sexually abused. As a child, I started having sexual relations with other children. As a child, I've abused. I've been involved in anal sex, into this balance. We call this homosexuality. Yes. As a child, I've taken my father's neighbor's daughter into my father's bedroom and I molested her sexually. Now my life was going down the drain because when a child is abused, he doesn't have a future. That is the truth. Except there's divine intervention, and that divine intervention happened to me in 1997 when I gave my life to Christ. And when I tell you I gave my life to Christ, I'm not a preacher. I'm just telling you what works. I'm not a pastor. Yes. I'm not here to make utter call. I'm just talking about what worked for me. And because when I graduated, when I was called to the Nigerian bar 17 years ago, I had the opportunity of working in the biggest law firm in Nigeria as at then, and I turned it down because I felt that it will not serve my conscience right for me to go and sit there in a law firm pleading for people buying houses or selling houses or doing human rights. As a matter of fact, that firm was Chiganfa Miss Chambers. It was in depth into human rights. But I realized that my passion was different. My focus was different. My style was different. What was my focus? My focus is whatever human right we want to do that is responding, it's not going to work because the harm has been done. I'm interested in a human right education that prevents. Because prevention is better than cure. Enlightenment, therefore, is superior to enforcement. You have to enlighten because once the harm is done, the harm is done. Even if you come in 2 minutes or 3 minutes after the harm has been done. And what we have done is to work with stakeholders in the life of the child. We work with so many organizations. What is our goal? Our goal is to educate, is to let you know that you have a responsibility towards your child, and to let the state also know that you have a responsibility. Recently the deputy governor of Lagos State, I think a year ago or thereabout, the Lagos State government commendably said it was declaring war on child abuse, and they went to town. The deputy governor, Her Excellency, held a press conference to announce to the world that we are not going to take it easy with those who abuse children. And I was opportuned to be in that program. Press conference. And when Her Excellency finished with a wonderful, laudable speech and rolled out the programs that the Lagos State government was going to execute in preventing, in responding, most importantly, to child abuse and cases of child abuse, particularly cases of child sexual abuse. And I stood up to say, Your Excellency, ma, thank you very much for what you have said, and the Lagos State government must be commended for looking in this direction. Yes. But I want to say that it is globally settled that the world is no more looking at sporadic actions in solving child rights and child protection issues. The world is now thinking system. An enduring program. Enduring system that is in place to protect children. Let me give you an example. In Italy, if you give birth to a child, now the child goes into a database. That happens in many developed countries. When the child reaches the age of going to school, if the child does not show up in any school that day, that same day, social workers will visit you and say, a child was born here so time. Today, she turns he or she turns age. Please, we need to see her in school. If you can't account for the girl, you are going to be arrested. If you can't account for the child, you are going to be in trouble. Now,
excuse me. There's a system.
There's a database in place in China, in Japan, in all these countries. Every child, you see, what we are doing.
But we don't have that here.
No, we are saying people should register the birth of children. Now that's we are campaigning now, that there should be birth registration, that people should register their children when they give birth to them, and National Population Commission is the one in charge of that thing. Now, let me ask you a question. If a child was born in Borno State, and when the child is 3, the parents migrate to Lagos, who knows, who is aware of the migration? Who is going to, and we say we are running a federal state, who is going to ensure that that child goes to school in Lagos?
Track that child to the age of 6 or 7.
There is a national database in all these countries. There is no hiding place. Are you getting it? Once it is on auto. Once all the children that will start school on Monday, so the date is already locked in, and people have been assigned to respond. As they are entering school, they are being informed. This one has entered, this one has entered, this one has entered.
Already programmed.
If you don't enter, they will come. Sorry, by the next morning, this one did not come. They will get in touch with the parents. That is how it works. So I said that it is high time we began to think system. And one of the things system is going to do is that system will lead to education. Education will lead to prevention. Not only that, system will think about empowerment. System will think about how many children can we really take care of. And that was what led to the one family, one child policy
in China
that was recently reviewed to one family, 2 children. Now it's been reviewed recently. Now, because you see, as a state, you need to plan. You need to look at what we have in our
resources.
The resources available. What social services must we provide to children and other citizens? If we must provide these social services, what do we have? So we must ensure that this is the number of children that so number of families must have, because we don't want to raise miscreants, because a child is going to become a menace if the child is not properly raised. The beauty of having children, the joy of having children is not bringing them to this world. It is how they are raised. If the joy of having children is bringing them to this world, you will not have Anini. You will not have Hitler, who was abused by the father. You will not have Joseph Stalin, who was abused by the father. And all these guys,
probably the leader of the Boko Haram sect.
And these guys became menace to society. The father of Hitler did not know he was preparing the funeral of 62 million people. That was 2.5% of the entire population of the world when Hitler was being maltreated. So I said in that press conference that, in my conclusion, I said system and empowerment. I said, go to Ajegule, for example. There's a place in Agoji called Dustbin Estate. People are living on dustbin. People are drinking from dustbin. People are built shanties there. There are landlords on the dustbin. They are put their toilet on the dustbin. There's a private school in Dustbin Estate. That private school is taught like a believer's class. Primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, all of them are together. The school fees in that private school is 20 naira per day, including lunch. If you have it on Monday, you come. If you don't have it on Tuesday, you don't come. If you don't have it for a month, you don't come. When you have it, you bring your 20 naira again. It is pay as you go. Pay as you receive education. There is no credit. And so if you are able to come once in and at the end of the day, these children are preparing for a future, and they are being prepared for the same future that the child who goes to the highbrow school, the high street schools go. And one day I was in Oshodi. I was in a school. They call it Afari Ogun. I've forgotten the name. It's a primary and nursery school. In that school, there are over 500 pupils and teachers. They have one pit latrine, one toilet. And when I was leaving, I was in my car, and I was telling my assistant, I said, see, this child in Afari Ogun who is going through this trauma of childhood is going to grow up, is going to expect to go and compete in the same labor market with this child who is in this school where it was a graduation day. The roof, there was roof, but the roof was roofed, but there was no asbestos, there was nothing. We were sweating as if we were being taken to the gallows. And I we were sweating there. I said, if we were having this meeting in GRA Kecha, we're having it in Koya and Lekki, the story is going to be different. So the truth of the matter is, until we address system, we are not serious. When this government came into power in 2000, when did this government come into power? Is it 2011 or thereabout? I did an article in the newspaper. I laid out what I believe should be the manifesto of government concerning children. I'm not a critic. I'm not a social critic. I'm a solution provider. I came to say these are the things you need to do. Children are facing. I published the article in the Punch, and these are the things, if you are going to be serious about children, these are the things I believe you should take into cognizance. I proffered that solution FOC, free of charge. Nobody contacted me. Nobody asked me to bring a paper. I provided because I felt somebody might be reading, somebody might be interested. Sir, if the existence of parents is an abuse, they are going to abuse their children. You cannot give what you do not have. You are going to give what you have. In a state where people are not sure where their next meal is coming from, and they are involved in the pastime of liaising with their wives, and what is going to happen? They are going to impregnate them. And when you impregnate your wife is going to deliver. And when the wife delivers, we don't want to talk about the rate of deaths, pregnancy, mortality rate and the rest of it. Now, when your wife delivers, you now say the child is a girl, and you are saying, no, in this community we don't respect girl. It must have a boy. You keep sleeping with her. Finally, nine girls. So finally, you say you must have a boy because a child is not yet a child until it's a boy. Yeah. So you now have a boy, now have triplets, 13 children in a face me, I face you apartment in Ajegule. This face me, I face you apartment is 12 rooms, 1 toilet, 1 bedroom, an average of 12 families in one room. That is 12 times 12. Now, you are talking about epidemic. You are talking about how epidemic has not broken out in those places is because their immune system has been deadened, and they are now used to it. And that is why United Nations has told us that in Nigeria, life expectancy of the woman is 54. Life expectancy of the man is 47. I'm 44 now. If we have to go by that life expectancy, in another 3 years, I should be out of this place. And that is why you hear of deaths upon death. People die daily. You see, when you talk about the people that are being bombed, when you talk about the people that are being bombed in Yobe, in Adamawa, in Borno, it makes headlines. But people are dying daily on daily basis.
For no reason.
Higher number.
For no reason.
People cannot afford medicals. My brother had a kidney issue. I took him with the family. I took him to Lut. When I took him to Lut, I found out that emergency ward. Doctors were attending to people inside Marwa. Doctors were attending to people on top of Okada. The emergency ward was filled up. Are you getting it? I took my mother there in 2009. My mother died in that place. I took her there in 2009. When I took her in 2009, we wheeled her into that place. She had suffered double stroke. She was unconscious. And the doctor was just looking at me as if nothing was happening. And I was telling the doctor, see, this is an emergency. He said, is an emergency mother or this emergency? Am I going to kill myself? Sir, please exercise patience. When I finish attending to all these people who came before her, because they are also emergency. Remember, I was in an emergency hall. In that emergency, there's no oxygen. In that emergency hall, nothing was going on there. Now, so I took my mother there, and my mother was there. She was unconscious. 3 days after she passed on, she died in that hospital at the age of 67. And so you are not aware of how many people who are dying
through that same
and it was an unnecessary death because I'm a taxpayer, but the resources are not there to go further than enjoy, those public services. And I was not saving money for my mother to have stroke. So when the crisis started, we had to respond with all that we had. And before we knew it, Jack Robinson, the woman, was gone. Now, another time it might be different.
No, Barrister. All this will come to a head.
Yes.
And that is where I think we need to address the minds of our viewers.
Yes.
So how do we now politically educate and make actionable some of these issues that we have raised here? Okay. It is critical for the viewers and Nigerians to know that they also have a responsibility. That is what you have just said here. You have defined the fact that the home, the family, will be the first point where the child must be empowered, must be informed, must be trained. Therefore, our viewers are just there, and every time it's like, oh, it's the government. So
this is my thought, particularly for our educated viewers. Education has meaning. Education means you are an intellectual. Education means you do not base your life on esoteric and unfounded facts and philosophies that cannot help you to be a better father, a better person, a better mother, a better worker. Education means that Educe, it means that educe comes from the word to bring out what is inside somebody.
The best of you.
The best of you. It means that if you say you are educated, it means the best of you has been brought out. It means that you give your best to everything that you do. So that is the meaning of education. So how come you are educated and you don't know anything about how to take care of your children? You have not read one book on child protection, on child's rights, or your responsibility towards your children. You don't know what to consider before you register your child in a school. Now, please note, the matter is beyond government. All of us are guilty. All of us are involved. For example, when you take your child to a school, why do you register your child in a school, for example? Most of us register our children in a school because the school is close to our house. It is the proximity of the school to our house that
is the first consideration.
That's the first consideration. It does not matter whether the principal is the devil or the vice principal is the grandmother of Satan. It doesn't matter to you. As long as it is close and you can quickly drop the child and
go and do your business.
Go and do your business. You don't mind. And we know that there are 15 things you must consider before you register your child in a school. 15 things you must consider.
No, just give us the three principal ones.
The first one is that, you see, a child must be hearing one voice all his life till 18. One voice. And what do we mean? It means there must be an alignment between what the child is being told at every point in time you introduce the child to. It means that a child needs someone to believe. That is a role model. It means that a child needs someone to believe, something to believe. Those are values. So a child is raised according to values. The content of a child is not the content of the body, because we have seen tall men, people who are well built, who are fools. When their beauty and their tallness is as important as when they keep quiet. Once they open their mouth, it is better for them to have kept quiet. So it is not, when you are saying you are growing children, it's not body building that is children. It is the content of the character of the child. That is what you give to the child. Somebody tweeted yesterday, he said, my child, I have given you my values. I have given you my name. Yesterday, he said, I have not given you anything physical, but I know that my name and my values will carry you through. That is the same thing Warren Buffett is doing. He's giving away almost everything he has, and he said, I've developed my children, I've built them to take over, to be able to do what they need to do. So that is the issue. For those who say we are educated, one, what are your values? What do you stand for? So how do you, when you want to take your child to a school, you ask them there, what do you guys believe? Who is the owner of this school? Or who runs? Do you have a board, or is it a one-man school, one-man show? You're not going to ask that question. Number two is, do they have a child protection policy? Because child protection has become a major issue. Children have been abused day in, day out, both in private and public schools. Children have been abused both physically, emotionally, sexually, and by neglect. In a school in Adeniji Jones, 5 pupils, 2 teachers, they did not know when the girl put eraser in her nose. They didn't know. 5 pupils, 2 teachers. They didn't know when that happened. So the truth of the matter is this: parents have a major role to play in the welfare of our children, particularly those of us who claim to be educated. Before you wake up in the morning, before your children wake up in the morning, you are gone. Before you return in the night, they've gone to bed. And I know that the state of the nation is the reason why we give for this thing. And I say, I'm 44. I was born in 1970, March 24, 1970. When I was born, not sooner than I was born, I began to hear something called austerity measures. And
that's what you've been living with.
Measures. From there, I began to hear SAP, Structural Adjustment Program. So the state of the nation did not come upon me as an accident. The state of the nation has always been there. And you know what it means to give good education to your children, to provide housing and the rest of it. So since you know that, who compelled you? Who put a gun in your head to bring 3, to bring 4, to bring 5, to bring 6, to bring 7, to bring 8? And now you are complaining about the state of the nation hindering you. Now, if government cannot regulate you as an educated person, why not regulate yourself? We understand the poor people, the uninformed people who don't know what to do, who are not even aware, who cannot even don't understand the
process, who cannot process
their right or their left. But what about you, the educated parents who is watching us right now, sir, it's a pathetic situation, because you see educated people who have abandoned the responsibility of parenting
to house helps or to schools.
Now, the idea of single parenting has another meaning today. Single parenting now means husband and wife that are married, but the wife is busy chasing money, and the husband is busy chasing money, and the wife is the one responsible for taking care of children. Because when I speak at PTA meetings, when you go to PTA meeting, you see, if there are 5,000 pupils in that school, you will find 100 parents. When you out of that 100 parents, you will find 90 of them are women, 5 of them are men, and 5 are house helps. So we have now abandoned the responsibility. That's single parenting.
Yes.
So parenting, that's single parenting. Some women are the one taking care of their children when their husband is alive. Some nannies, some women now, because both of them are career people, they hand over their children to their nannies who they don't know, who they cannot vouch for, who because they have been on maternity leave and they have to start work, they employed on Sunday and they are resuming work on Monday, and they hand over their children to the nanny on Monday. It does not matter to them, and that's why we had the pathetic case in Ibadan, where 4 children of a family tested positive to HIV. 4 children.
In one family?
In one family. So they tested the father, negative. Tested the mother, negative. They tested the house help, positive. So the doctor asked the question, what happened? He said, when I want to teach them how to brush in the morning, I take their brush,
you go use them
I put it for my mouth. You see, up and down, this. Focus on your bedroom. You don't have to start by changing your bedroom. Focus on your bed. You don't have to change by changing your bed. Focus on your bed space. You don't have to start by changing your bed space. Focus on yourself. When you change, your bed space will change. When your bed space changes, your bed will change. When your bed changes, your room will change. When your room changes, your street will change. When your street changes, your local government will change. When local government changes, your state will change. When your state changes, your country will change. When your country changes, your continent will change. When your continent changes, your world will change. That means you are the change the world has been waiting for. We cannot continue to point accusing finger. There is an area of influence where you have capacity over, where you can change. And I took responsibility for that 17 years ago to say there's an area of influence we can change, and we have been doing that. And today the story is different. We have affected so many people. We are not where we want to be, but we are not where we are not where we want to be. Where we used to be. And we believe that it is a journey of a lifetime. Thank
you very much, Barrister Taiwo Akinlami. You can agree with me that his passion for this country cannot be abated by the fact that the movement may be slow, but certainly the movement is so sure.